Hello my friends, welcome back to another watercolor tutorial. We are going to be painting a pumpkin painting today, which I am very excited about. I do pumpkins, so I think this is my second one this year, but I've done many varieties and scenes with pumpkins before. I'm super into autumn right now. It is the the end of the first week of September, so I'm really into this stuff. I sketched out my thing first here because I have a history, the last few videos, where it would take me like 15 minutes just to sketch something, and I didn't want to waste your time, so I pre-sketched it, but it ended up only taking me like 40 seconds. So I sketched out just an oval on my piece of paper. We are in portrait position here. And then I sketched out a circle on the bottom, like 60% of that oval, and then kind of a bigger circle that is being overlapped by that smaller one, and then another one here. And obviously these are going to be three, or maybe it's not so obvious, but they're going to be three pumpkins. And then I tried my best to kind of get rid of some of those pencil marks to try and make the whole painting look a little bit more natural. So one thing, no, I'm gonna leave that till the end, I think. Yeah, I'll leave that part to the end. I was going to first paint the background. The reason why I painted an oval is because I wanted to paint the background this like nice rustic brown paper bag color, but it actually looks more rustic when you paint it after the main part is painted, because then you're trying to avoid it and it leaves these little white borders between them, and then in my opinion it looks very rustic and intentional that way. I don't know if it'll work out this time, but that's usually my experience, so that's what I'm gonna do. So stop dilly-dallying, Julia. Taking orange, I'm picking up, mixing in a little bit of brown, and I am going to paint these two outer ones first, simply because why am I gonna do that? Is that the better idea? No, it's not. I'm gonna paint this one first. So oh, by the way, this is inspired by ellencrimitrent. Yeah. So this looks like an apple. Come on, Julia, get it together. I'm trying to leave space for where the, what is that called? I always forget the stalk of the, there's a name for it. The rind? The stalk, the rind of the pumpkin. That looks very apple-like. Ooh, maybe make this a little more pointy. I'm trying too hard, that's why. And it's already drying. This is not good. Ay caramba. I was gonna try and leave little gaps between all the sections to make it more realistic looking, but I think that I'm going to have to just either paint that in after or figure out a different way. So right now, it's not looking too hot, and whatever, we'll paint over that in a bit. But this is very much showing through the outline of this pumpkin. I don't like that it turned out that way. I just used like a wet brush to lift off some of the pigment just to separate the sections of this pumpkin. I will make this a lot better in a moment. When it dries, I will separate them with brown marks, but I am trying to lift off a good amount of paint in this section here because I want it to show a glare on this pumpkin. I did a pretty pathetic job doing that. I might just have to paint it after the fact on because I don't like how any of this turned out. But what I will do is paint that rind handle, whatever that top part is called. And we'll have it kind of curving like this. You know what I'm gonna add to this pumpkin? I just thought of to add is those little, what are they called again? Oh, I can't believe I forgot what it's called. I knew what the name of it in a previous tutorial. Oh, that's gonna bother me now. It's like the little twirly things that kind of come off the rind. The only thing that's coming to my head right now is girdle, and that is, I don't even know what that means. Tendril, that's what it's called. Yes, I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna do that at the end once these two pumpkins are filled in, so that I could just like go over top of the orange of this pumpkin and the other one. But I really hope I remember to do that because I feel like that's a detail that is going to be very easy to forget. I'm just kind of adding some more sections, I guess you would call it, on this rind. Okay, that's enough. I'm trying too hard here. Oh, you know what this, okay, I said that's enough and then I keep going. This needs yellow. This pumpkin needs some happiness. So I'm gonna take this eggshell yellow that I have. There we go. That's what it was missing this whole time. No, I don't like that at all. Ay, ay, ay. The bottom should be darker. What am I doing? Trying too hard. Okay, I'm just gonna blow dry this and then I'm gonna paint the other pumpkins because as you can see, I can't stop myself from doing what I'm doing. I just keep going. So yes, let's blow dry that pumpkin. So that should be mostly dry. I am going to pick up orange for this second pumpkin. And I'm going to do my best to not ruin the first pumpkin that I painted. So I want to work, I forgot that I drew a line here, sorry. I have to pay a little bit better attention to what I'm doing. I'm trying to work quickly because I want to keep this wet in order to paint this part darker. So I'm just painting over it with water to keep it wet. Maybe I should just trying to decide what to do here before everything dries. So I'm adding some brown to the part of this pumpkin that is being like the part closest to where it's being overlapped. The mistake I made is making this too dark on the first pumpkin, because now it looks very similar in darkness. So I'm gonna try to rectify this somehow. I don't want it to be too brown because that's not what a pumpkin looks like, but I mean, how else do I deal with this? Maybe just adding like direct black to it. Or maroon, that might help the situation. Because then it'll still be dark, but it could be the same darkness, but it'll be a different color, so it'll stick out a bit more. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I think that was not the right approach, but let me just try to fix this. This just doesn't look natural. I don't know why. What is this missing? This whole part should be dark. This should be dark. I don't know. Looks like a very lopsided pumpkin now that I'm staring at it. I wanted to make this nice and bright for the same reason I wanted to make that nice and bright, as like a little glare spot. Now I'm lifting off some color in like the half moon sections. Try and achieve something similar as this, but we will add little thin lines later on to make it more pumpkin-like. This dried pretty cute. I don't mind how that looks. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna switch gears to this last pumpkin for now because I'm gonna probably mess something up if I keep going there. I'm not happy with how harsh this line is, but like, what are you gonna do? So do. I don't even know where this pumpkin is supposed to start and end. What have I even done here? Oh, and I forgot to do the rind on this one. Man, I really am dropping the ball. And I have to do that same darkness thing here. I think I'm gonna end up putting white acrylic paint on either side of this middle pumpkin to liven it up a little bit, because right now I'm not happy with the shadow situation. Like, it's just not natural looking, and I don't know how else to address it. Is this even on camera? I don't know. There's this, I don't watch other watercolor tutorials online or anywhere for that matter. Many years ago I would sometimes watch them, but there was this one lady, I don't know if she still does watercolor art, but they film her, like she would film her face in another angle in addition to painting. I don't know what the intention behind that was, because it didn't really add anything to the tutorial in terms of instruction. Maybe it was just like to be unique. What was I gonna say? Oh, I am so glad that that is not the case, like that I don't do that, because I mean, you have to be so careful. Like, if my nose is itchy, I kind of rub my nose aggressively, and I don't think of what that might look like on camera. And she has to look, well, she doesn't have to, but she always looked very nice and presentable. That is not my default. That is not my standard. I don't at all try to look good in daily life. So I definitely wouldn't try to look good for a tutorial. So it's nice that I can just sit down and film in whatever physical state I am in. That's why I could never do like those life vloggers. I don't know how they do it. I admire that, That takes a lot of time to film like every aspect of your life, no matter what you look like, or take the time to always look good for the camera. I could never. My gosh. I'm just adding that maroon burgundy color here, but I think I'm gonna add black because that's a bit too bright for what I was hoping for. Okay, so I'm gonna add the handle here, which I forgot to do earlier. Fortunately, my phone holder is covering the timestamp on this video, so I don't know how long I've been going for. Sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, okay, we really need to wrap things up here, so no more extra details. But I also want to do other things other than paint this evening. I would like to write down my 5 for tomorrow. I talked about this in another tutorial where I started writing down 5 tasks for myself for the next day. And it has kept me so motivated, and I feel so good about my productivity. And I didn't do that this weekend for either Saturday or Sunday. And it showed because I didn't do very much and I felt not great about myself after that. My husband's like, Julia, you gotta relax once in a while, just like enjoy life. We also had my toddler's birthday party, and it's not like we didn't do anything. We do plenty, like we're constantly busy, but if I'm not checking things off of my personal list, it's really hard for me to stay feeling good about what I do in my day to day. I think that's why I struggled so much in early motherhood, like in the the 3 month to the 14-15 month stage was really, really hard for me. I struggled really intensely because 0 to 3 months was a walk in the park. That was a piece of cake. I had an incredibly easy sleeper and just very easy baby. My toddler is still an amazing sleeper overall. Just for perspective, I now put her to bed, and this might be just temporary like most things are, but she doesn't cry anymore when I put her to sleep. And when she falls asleep, this has been the case for like the last year or so, she will sleep through the whole night. And then she used to wake up at around 6:37 if we were lucky and just immediately start crying. But we still got like 12 hours, solid hours. Now, it doesn't matter what time she wakes up, she will just wait in her crib until we come get her in the morning. So last weekend, we didn't set an alarm because it was the weekend and she's usually our alarm. And my husband looks at the time when we woke up. It was 8:40, and this poor toddler was just sitting waiting in her crib for mom and dad to come get her. I felt really bad, but she seemed really content when we walked in the room. So what was I saying before that? Oh, yes, the 0 to 3 months were super easy for me because she was just an easy baby. She slept for 4 hours at a time during the day and basically the same at night. So it was a walk in the park. I know not all babies are like that, and I can't imagine, but ours was. And so I'm very grateful for that. But then after things started to get a little more complicated, she was awake for longer periods of time, and it just became harder for me to complete tasks. It was very hard for me to switch my mindset into like, hey, mothering is your priority. This is the most important thing you're gonna do. So just go with the flow. And it took me a very long time to adjust to that. I never fully adjusted to it because I think most babies probably go through like a clingy phase, but there was a phase when she was like 12 to 14 months old where I couldn't do anything except sit on the floor and play with her. Anytime I got up to even use the toilet, it was screaming. And I remember sharing those frustrations and hard moments in my tutorials, and people were being so ruthless. It was not making the situation any easier. I was looking for like support and comfort from everywhere, and some people are so mean. So I try not to share too much anymore because it's not worth it. It's not worth the ridicule. And sometimes I wonder, like, who these people that are making these comments, are these like grandparents that just, you know, it's been 50 or like 30 years since they had a baby or a toddler and they just completely forgot what it's like? Is it mothers that are projecting their own frustrations? Like, who is making these comments? But I think the easiest thing to do is just try to not let it affect you. And that is so much easier said than done. Like, way easier said than done, but that is really what everyone should be doing. Mind your own business, do the best that you can, and things will eventually probably turn out as they did. So right now I've taken brown watercolor and a liner brush, and I'm just adding those sectioning details to make my pumpkin look a little bit more pumpkin-like. Okay. I really like how that is really all coming together. I do want to add some white highlights to some areas. Like, for instance, let me pick up some white here and there. Maybe on this side. Okay, I just kind of added white watercolor where I thought it would be Nice to have some highlights. I don't know how it's gonna dry. It's probably gonna dry and not even be visible, but at the moment it's looking pretty good. Because I have very little water. It's mostly the white watercolor. So, okay. The tendrils, we cannot forget the tendrils. I'm saying that to myself now. In fact, I'm going to paint one of the tendrils so that I don't forget to finish all of them after I'm done everything that I want to paint. So I'm going to take that black brown mixture and whoa! Sorry. What happened there? Oh my golly. No. No, no, no. I feel like, what is that actor's name? Julia Roberts in that movie where she's trying to sue a company for lying about the toxicity of water. What is the name of that movie? That's the kind of accent she has. Anyway. Okay, tendrils. Where are these tendrils coming from? Here. So the key to painting these tendrils, I did this in like a couple tutorials ago, but you want to make it as like zigzaggy as possible because it's a dried up part of the vine. Maybe not that zigzaggy. Something like this. I have too much water on my brush. I need to, and that probably should have been more brown and not black, but I can't do anything about it because if I try to erase it, it'll, not erase, but you know, like rub it off like I did with this mistake down here. It will ruin my pumpkin underneath. So that's my fault there, whatever. We will be painting more of those. I just have to first, do it. I want to fill the background in, so I'm going to take like a, why am I using a liner brush for this? Come on, get with the program. Tan color, and no, that is not the color I want. It is not. That's a little better. And I want to water that down and turn it a little bit more gray. So I'm going to mix some gray in there. Yep, there we go. That's what I wanted. So I'm basically just dipping my paintbrush in water this entire time and spreading out that initial color that I plopped on there. And then we will go back and darken the parts that we want to darken, like right here, for instance, but I'll do that in a moment. Let me just erase that bit. And then this part, too dark. Add some gray in there. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I want more gray. What is happening? There we go. Is that even on camera? Sorry. Moment of frustration. That should be way darker. So I'm adding black. So I'm just adding brown, gray, whatever, tan, just to get the right combination of the color that I'm looking for in this painting. Sorry, in the background. But this is me being like super nitpicky, unnecessarily, I would say. You just do what works for you. I just like too many details. I like overdoing it. I'm joking. I don't actually like it. I just can't seem to help myself. I put myself in these positions where I can't help myself. I just want to make it look really good, and then I end up ruining it. And in some parts here, you can see I'm leaving a tiny, tiny white gap in between the pumpkin and the background. Okay, this is coming together nicely. I just got a message. One of my friends inviting us over, and I've had quite a few social obligations, not obligations, but social invites and events, like more than ever in my life. And while I love feeling included and that people want to spend time with me, I'm very much a homebody. I very much like my own time. I have a lot of hobbies that take up time that I enjoy more than socializing. And that is, I don't mean that with any disrespect to any of the lovely people in my life. It's nothing to do with them. It's just, I am a little bit of a hermit. And I just got invited to another thing, and it's always at a time that is really close to my toddler's napping time. And we've had now 2 weekends in a row, and next weekend is going to be a third. Oh, I just realized I can't go because I have another, see what I mean? I can't go to the thing I just got invited to. I've got another birthday party to go to. So I can't go to the other thing. Anyway, they all happened during my toddler's nap. And I tried the first day, or the first time, I tried just going with the flow and skipping the nap, and boy, did we have a meltdown. And rarely does my toddler scream and roll around. She almost never does the way that she did. And then I had to do it again the next day for another social obligation, and then I had to do it. And then we had her own birthday party, which I scheduled way earlier than usual, than all the other social obligations we've been going to. And that was good for the party, but then, you know, when people stay longer, which is great, I really don't mind that they stay longer than the invite said. I can't like get back into a routine for my toddler where like we feed her and kind of settle her down after all the chaos, the very happy chaos of having 20 toddlers and young children in my house. We didn't get to do that, and so there was another meltdown. And now I know that next weekend there's going to be another meltdown because we have another birthday party during her nap time. And And I really don't like doing that to her, but I don't want to let people down. Sorry, I'm looking at this now and realizing this oval is lopsided. This pumpkin needs to stick out more. Oh, why do I do this? Okay. Let's try to very discreetly fix this. So in summary, it feels wonderful to feel so loved and included in all these social invites and meetups and birthday parties and coffee and tea meetups, and it feels wonderful. I'm not complaining about that. It's just challenging to navigate with a little one that has a schedule that she thrives in. So okay. Okay, this is looking so cute. I need to do more tendrils, and I don't know, I was gonna do little wheat shoots, whatever those wheat heads are, where grains of wheat grow. I'm blanking. Is it just called wheat? I don't know. But I wanted to paint those as well. I'm gonna water that down. I took a tan color and we'll see what this looks like. Okay, I want it to be more brown. More brown and more watered down. Brown and watered down. I don't want grass, I want wheat. And that's too dark. Ay, ay, ay. Sometimes I try too hard and I mess it up. I say that a lot, I feel. Maybe just some of whatever this is. Yes, that's better. That looks good, I think. Very nice. Okay. Now we're talking. I like this. Okay. I'm very, very, very tempted to do something on the top and the bottom here, similar to the homesteading. Like, I have these are my favorite. I call it my homesteading collection, but how I did the same oval thing. I just didn't leave enough of a gap around the whole thing to go outside the oval. So I'm thinking of doing something inside the oval. I just don't want to screw it up because I really like how this looks right now. Let me add those tendrils before and ponder upon potentially making a mistake here. So I'm gonna have another tendril sticking up or sticking down. Yeah, maybe I'll have this one going like this. Although now it's not dark enough. The other one was too dark and this one's not dark enough. So let's see if I can darken that a tiny bit. Going outside the The frame is also gonna, I think, look nice. That looks very, very sweet. That's probably not the right word to use at all, but that's how I feel about this painting. And the tendrils, like, do I add something? Do I add something? Maybe if I pencil it out first, I can help make that decision. Like, do a tiny little pumpkin or something at the top here so it'll kind of look like this. And then have doop, doop, doop. I just don't want to overdo it because I do have that tendency. I put too many of these details that just aren't so unnecessary. Doop. I don't like how the bottom looks. But the top looks tempting. So what color would I even use? Just brown? I'm trying to be very delicate and like not all the leaves have to be attached to the stem and whatnot. Just trying to make it a little loose and going with the flow. Something like this. And then I'm going to erase this pumpkin. I don't want it to show through. Do I do orange or do I do brown? Maybe like a combo between the two. Why am I using my liner brush again for this? I'm just gonna switch. I'm not sure why I was doing that. Can you see that properly? How long have I been painting this? Oh my gosh. I can't see the timestamp, but just looking, I think we're close to like 40 or 50 minutes. And if so, that is overboard. So I'll make this look like an apple. Give it a little stem. we'll add those little, I know we're probably going overboard at this point, but I'm tempted to add the little lines that separate the sections of the pumpkin. Too much, I know, but it just looks so cute. I'm really pleased with this. I was not expecting this to turn out so homesteady looking, but this is probably going to be part of my homesteading collection, which is not anything official that is relevant to anyone but me. It just means it's going to be displayed in my room. But I am going to stop before I ruin this. And I don't think I'm tempted not to fill in these guys either, because then they won't be as dainty looking. Let's see. I don't know how I feel about filling those in. I think I might try and lift some of that out. Keep them on the lighter side. Excuse me. And then what are we gonna do? We're gonna take these darker lines and just add them onto this pumpkin. And I'm not gonna mess with the white watercolor. I'm just gonna take white acrylic paint here and just lighten this pumpkin a tiny bit. Blend some of that in. Oops. I have to pick this up. Now I am tempted to add white acrylic paint highlights to these pumpkins now that I have it out. Because I can see that the white watercolor dried a good bit. But now we're just like going overboard, honestly, with this. I don't want to keep going because I run the risk of overdoing it, as I usually do, and then I regret decisions that I've made. So I'm gonna just stop there. And this is why I stop. This is why I stop when I do, or when I should. I'm not doing it anymore. That's it. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm looking at this and I think I'm gonna add more, like just little dots around the border. I cannot help myself, but I'm gonna stop now in case if you see it on the thumbnail, then I kept going. If you don't, then I may have kept going and then photoshopped it out. So let me know what you thought of this one. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, check out my Patreon, comment, and I will see you in the next tutorial.